All right, so now what do we talk about?
Where are the board games?
Huh?
Where are the board games?
All right, now maybe we should do an intro where we actually introduce ourselves.
Yeah.
That might be good.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Adam,
Hi, I'm Saska.
and don't really know what we're doing with this channel, but we're gonna talk about board games today. During COVID, and she knows, I've been buying and buying and buying board games.
A lot. It's like Amazon deliveries every day.
Literally every day, literally. And yeah, so they're starting to stack up, and for maybe other people it's no big deal, but for us, we've never learned more than one game in a sitting. I love board games, but learning them is obviously a barrier to entry. So today we're gonna do a big catch up, and we're gonna do four in one sitting. All right, so the games that we're doing today, and we're not going to be doing a how to play because we probably teach you wrong because we're going to learn it wrong. But we are going to give you our early impressions, and afterward we'll talk about our first impressions and which ones we like the best, and
Which ones we don't like?
yeah,
I guess.
and obviously who won the most games.
Which is me. No, it's always me. He teaches me the game and I just win after. That's how it goes.
Okay, so this first one comes in a tin, and it's called Conspiracy Abyss Universe. And I think it's there's another game. I've not actually played Abyss, but this is supposed to be the small, quick two-player, well, it can play 2 to 4 player version of the game. And as soon as I hear someone say it's a cool small card game, for some reason I always want to grab it. So that's the first one, it's Conspiracy Abyss. Next one's got this weird box cover, and it's called...
The Bloody End. I like it, actually. Like, I like the cover a lot.
I don't know, I have kind of like mixed feelings about the cover, but the artwork overall I think is kind of cool and weird. And
That's why I like it.
it's
like-
supposed to be a pretty dark theme. It's a hotel, you get to kill the guests and steal their money, and you're trying to bury the bodies. Although it has kind of like a quirky sense of humor, so it's not as gory as it sounds. The next one was a recent Kickstarter, so I don't think this one's available retail yet, but it's called Canvas, even though the title is not on here, because actually it has a little hanger at the back, and if you want, you can hang the board game like a piece of art. So it's cool, very interesting game. We'll see if it's more than just a gimmick or if it's actually like a lot of fun.
I think it's a gimmick.
We'll
I
see.
don't know.
And the next one, and this is one I've been meaning to play for a long time, but it's called Res Arcana. And, the theme is maybe played out, like, your sorcerers and wizards fighting against each other. Like, yeah, I've been there, done that a million times, sure. But this one's supposed to have a really cool system, very minimalist system. So they're all pretty short. I think we can probably get through it in a couple of hours. We just finished our first game of The Bloody Inn. The first one, I don't know, we just picked it at random.
Yeah.
But I think I felt like it was the one you...
I thought I really wanted to play that one just because
Yeah.
I like the artwork so much and I like the theme of the game.
Killing people?
Well,
Yeah, I mean, it's part of it. I actually was giving people room service, so it wasn't just, and they left alive for part of it. I printed these player aids, but actually, to be honest, this game is not really that complicated.
yeah, it's not really that complicated, but I feel like it does take a bit of like reading, like a lot of reading to kind of understand that there are consequences if you pick like certain cards. And you have to definitely play like the first 2 or 3 games to really get a vibe of the game.
Yeah, we learned the game, but we
Yeah.
didn't play well at all. So I won by 1 point.
At 1 point.
But
by 1 point.
1 point.
That's because we kind of like messed up the first round. That's why he won.
But we, it's not like this was a good example of strategy. But a lot of it is basically just like managing the cards in your hand, and everything you want to do, you have to exchange for something else. So if you want to kill a person, they have like a power of 3, but you need to give up 3 cards in order to do that. But now you got this body, which is also a power of 3, and you need 3 cards to be able to bury it. And it's the same thing with bribing and what they call building annexes, which get you power, but are also places where you hide the bodies. So it's really, really tough because you're like, I want to do, and you can only do 2 things on a turn, and it's a back and forth. So you get 2 actions, and you do that 1 action, the other person goes, and you always just feel like, I can't do enough. So you got to be pretty like long-term thinking. And for our first game, we played really badly, but I'm already thinking the second and third and fourth.
I think like the second game, we're going to have a better idea of like what we really need to focus on, like when picking out cards. And like honestly, like the first round, like when we played, I wasn't really looking at the little like what these cards do too much. I was kind of just picking at random, but there are consequences. Say for example, you know, you have like your room and I have my room, so it's also about like where you put a particular card.
Because on your turn you're the one who fills up the hotel, and for example, I was getting room service based on how powerful the card was.
I hated that so much. That's how he kept like getting.
I kept catching up a little bit, and so when it was her turn, it made more sense to put like low power cards in my room so that I'd be punished.
I was kind of frustrated as like in terms of the limitations, like of how much you can do, because I think you can pretty much like get maybe a good hand, like if you're lucky enough you get a good hand, but when it comes to your turn, there's not really a lot you can do. And even if there is in that first round, you pretty much end up like giving away all your cards to do that one thing, and then the next round you're kind of like, oh my god,
and the
what
thing
did I
is
do?
you want to give up a lot of your cards because at the end of the round you have to pay salaries for each person, so you actually don't want to have this big hand of cards. So it's kind of a really interesting balancing act. That's what I felt was cool about it. Actually, it was like, oof, you got to be really careful. And even like near the end, I basically killed almost everybody in the hotel. So I had all these bodies, but then it becomes this challenge of burying them, because I had this power where you could kill a lot of people in one shot, but you need to pair that power with another combo, let's say, of maybe being able to bury a bunch of people in one shot.
Right. This is why like making sure that you're like reading each card and trying to pair the cards really well that work with each other is so important. So it also makes sense like to pick your cards depending on like the round that you go first. That's important as well, like, you know, if you get the cards.
Yeah, and what I found myself doing was like I was grabbing cards with the intent of doing something much later, because like you said, it's limited. So it's like, okay, I'm going to build an annex at some point, so I need to try to grab people so I can build an annex so that I can kill people, so I can bury them. So you're trying to go think like 3 moves ahead. But that was only about in the middle of the game, because at the beginning we had no idea what we were doing.
No clue.
So on to the next one. I think we're going to do Res Arcana next.
Would you play this again?
Absolutely. I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it was cool.
Sure.
So good first impression, but I sucked, even though I won by 1 point.
I mean, I didn't suck. I just didn't know what I was doing halfway through the game.
Yeah, it's okay. Okay. So a good first impression. We don't know what the hell we're doing. Okay, so that was Res Arcana.
What a game.
Yeah. So it's a race, basically, a race game for first person who gets to 10 points. I got 11 because I had the first player token, which is worth 1 point.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So, and Seska, how many did you get?
I got 5.
All right. Now,
Whoa.
I don't want to gloat because this is something that I feel like happens with us a lot. So, like when we played Seven Wonders Duel, I don't know, it was so long ago when we played our
Yeah.
first game, or Targi, or Parks. I very often win our first game that we play. I even smash it, so it just clicked with me immediately. But then I feel like once you grasp the game, then she gets to like mastery level before I do.
because I don't really win games when I learn to play them because I'm just like
Trial.
learning the strategy and I learn what like you do.
Yeah.
I think about like with this game, I kind of felt like the pace sometimes is slow just because like so they have like these cards, for example, that you have to lay out. What are these cards called again?
The places of power.
Yeah, places of power. And why I'm saying it's slow is that you're supposed to like get 10 points to win the game. A lot of these have one on them and it takes a long time to get them because you have to collect, you know, a lot of the same color powers, I guess.
You feel like you can't do much at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like it feels very slow at the beginning. So also we picked our characters based on like how cool we thought they
Such a
looked.
big mistake.
Don't do that. So she picked the Seer just because she thought this card looked really cool.
Yeah, I thought that looked really cool, but the seer like literally was okay. I personally, for me, it did not help me at
Maybe
all.
there's a way that you can use her. I don't know. But I felt I had more success with the Alchemist. And I think what I would just suggest is it's one of those games, it's an engine building game. So you got to get a thing to get a thing to get another thing. And ultimately, it's about getting points. So just being hyper focused, I was really focused on trying to get green. I had the Tree of Life in my hand, and I used that to try to get the Sacred Grove. So I was just basically focused on just getting green. That's most of my strategy. So, you know, maybe there's a way of like where you try to like spread yourself out and try to get a lot of different things. But basically I went for green and gold, and it's about going there really fast and being like really, really efficient. I've heard suggested that if you play it with like drafting, that actually might be more fun. So now you know you don't like the Seer. You basically have your hand of cards and you kind of pick like, okay, I'm going to go for this one, I'm going to go for that one. Because what we did was we did the starting recommended hand for
yeah.
each one.
Yeah.
But I mean, actually, I felt like this one clicked with me faster than Bloody Inn. I felt like I didn't understand how to play well in Bloody Inn till like maybe near the end. This one, I feel like it clicked almost, not immediately, but almost immediately.
So for me, I think with the Bloody Inn, it clicked like in the second half, like the second half of the game that we were playing. With this one, I think I'm 50-50 about this, right? Just because I feel like it's really slow paced. That's what I don't like about it. I'm sure like, you know, we played the second time and everything, like now that we understand it better, I'd probably like it more. But I still feel that it's like slow paced.
But it has some of the things from Duel, from games that you like you need to have the resources to get other things.
Yeah, but it's not like it's not that like because I like strategy games, right? This for me doesn't feel like a strategy game. This,
Okay, well, let's save the final thoughts for the very end. but I could already tell. But one thing it does have in common with Bloody Inn, it really feels like you can't do much,
Yeah.
especially early on. And then I think like afterward, you feel like you're getting a bit more momentum. Although I think near the end, I felt very rich in this game. I felt like I had a lot of resources. In Bloody Inn, even at the end, you don't feel like you're rich.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
On to the next one. We only got 2 left.
What's it called again?
It's part of the Abyss universe. The Abyss is a larger game. We actually haven't played Abyss, but I was attracted to this one because it's like smaller and faster, and like the compact version of it. But it's called Conspiracy, so we'll just call it Conspiracy.
I like it.
It's cool. I felt like you liked this one.
I like it because it's like it's a fun and short game. The artwork is pretty cool too. You know, it has that underwater theme and everything. But I liked it because it was fast paced. It was actually fun to do because you have to like build different rows and connect the rows.
Yeah, you sort of build like an upside down pyramid, and you get bonuses for connecting it. Probably the easiest one to learn out of the ones we played.
Yeah, it
Although
was super
it's a little,
easy.
that's the whole point of this video, is that it's always a little intimidating or a little awkward to learn something new. I actually won again by 1 point. I actually thought you won this one. Yeah, I could tell, and she wanted a rematch, but I'm like, hey, we gotta play one more game, one more different game. So yeah, Bloody Inn, I won by 1 point, and this one I won by 1 point. And I feel like that's maybe part of the design of some of these games. It's more exciting when it's kind of neck and neck. So it's a pretty balanced game, and I'd say out of the three, this was the one that made us have that feeling of, let's play another one. We're not going to right now, but I had that vibe of like, you know?
Yeah, it's quite compact, so
Yeah.
I think you could like take this out and like pretty much like play it anywhere.
Yeah.
It's a cool like travel game that you can like put in your pack or whatever.
Yeah. So yeah, simple, minimal, like not actually a lot of stuff or a lot of symbols to learn or anything like that, but there's actually a lot of game here. So I love when a game is like simple, but then there's like a lot to think about.
It's very competitive.
Yeah.
Like we're both like looking at each other's cards to see like what you're doing and if you're connecting and like
And a lot of it is you don't want to draw out too many cards, because then that gives the other person more options. So it's about like trying to help yourself without helping other people too much. So pretty cool. We just got one left.
Yep.
Yeah.
One left.
All right. Canvas it is. So, tell them what you think about this one. I already have kind of an idea, but what did you think of Canvas?
I think it's an easy game to learn. Do I love the game? No. I would play it if
Anytime you
there
ask yourself a question.
I would play the game if there really wasn't anything else to play, I guess. That's when I would like take this game out. So I mean, it's not like I'm excited by the game. I'm just like, okay, I have to like match things, right? It's kind of like, it seems like a project that you do, to be honest. It's kind of like homework.
It's like homework.
Yeah, it's like,
I kind of have like a middling feeling about it. Like it's a nice game. It's a cute game. I find it like it has like it's a clever spin, and it's got a lot of ingenuity, and it's obviously very pretty. It weirdly reminded me of Sprawlopolis, which is this tiny little micro travel game that you're supposed to play by yourself, like play solo. Just because you have like these different winning conditions, and it's like you trying to make 3 different objectives happen at the same time, or 4 objectives happen at the same time. And I think that's maybe the thing that I don't really like about it, because Sprawlopolis is a game you're supposed to play by yourself. And that's kind of how I felt this was. It was like you were playing a game by yourself, and I'm playing a game by myself.
Yeah.
And I'm not paying too much attention to what she's doing. I'm paying more attention to what I'm doing. And the games we tend to really like, Seven Wonders Duel, for example, is like every single thing you do affects what the other
like
person...
constantly like tense, because you're like, oh my god, is he going to take that card? What is he doing? What's happening right now? Like, you're literally eyeing everything on the board. Yeah. This game, you're kind of just like, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to do my own thing, I guess.
Yeah. You're kind of, you're in your own world a little bit too much for my taste. So yeah, I also agree with you. I think Canvas is cool, but it kind of depends if you like that kind of more puzzly, being thinking on your own type of game. And that was our cat.
Almost knocked the camera down.
The camera down. Okay, we're back, and we talked a little bit about Canvas, and now it's just like a recap of everything we played for like the past played and learned.
How many hours?
5 something like that.
Yeah.
So it took a while, but thankfully all these games are pretty short. So we maximized it. We didn't learn 4 very heavy games in one shot.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so in terms of like, how about easiest to learn? Like, which one did you pick up the fastest?
Conspiracy was definitely what I picked up the fastest.
Easiest? Okay. All right.
And then I believe it was
Canvas?
I think it was Canvas.
To be fair, yeah.
it was
Canvas was probably... I'm gonna be on. Yeah, I would say it's maybe almost a tie between Canvas and Conspiracy. These are pretty easy games to pick up quick. I think even, to be honest, I think maybe for me personally, I think Canvas is the easiest to learn. It doesn't mean that you're gonna like be good at it,
Yeah.
but like in terms of like how to play and just be like, okay, this is how you play, because there's really not many rules. If you look up like how-to videos, they're like less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So probably easiest, very close second, and then what about the hardest to learn? I mean, hardest is probably makes it sound harsh.
That's a difficult. Okay. So Res Arcana wasn't hard to learn. It just had like a lot of like
Symbols?
Yeah, it had more symbols that you had to like be more aware of. So I would say Res Arcana was like the third,
Yeah.
and then the Bloody End would be like the fourth.
I think it kind of depends on what you've played in the past.
Yeah.
So if you've already played like Dominion or other games that have a lot of symbols, I mean, we've played Caper, Seven Wonders Duel, whatever. So there's
Right.
something about this game. I get it. Yeah, there is like some symbols, but like I clicked with it because it kind of reminded me of other games. I actually kind of feel the Bloody End might be, it's not hard to learn, but it's such a different game than what I've played
Yeah.
that I wasn't really clicking with it until maybe about midway through. I'm like, oh, this is how you play this game. So this was kind of a different experience for me. Whereas this one, like, you know, it's not like Dominion, but it's adjacent to a lot of other games I've
Yeah.
played before.
Yeah.
So, and they do have this handy little reference card that has all the symbols there, so you just basically just need to check that. But for some reason, this was a new experience for me. So that was the easiest to hardest to learn. Now let's get to like which ones we liked. Now, of course, this is a first impression, so when you play it a second, third, fourth, you may love it or start even hating it, or who knows what.
Yeah.
But in terms of first impressions, which one for you?
The Bloody End, because it was fun. So I would definitely like, you know, if it was like the next day, this is the game I would say, right, let's play this again. Because, you know, it started getting into the game, like, because you start to understand the game, like, you know, when you play it maybe in the second half or so. So I would say this. Conspiracy would be my second because it's fun and light. I don't know if it's a game I would play like very often. I would probably just play this like once in a while. But yeah.
It's almost like what we call a filler game. Like it's
Yeah.
like one of those ones like, hey, let's just kill some time. It's also pretty travel friendly. I mean,
Yeah,
as long as you
exactly.
put like an elastic on the tin. So this would be a good one to like bring on a trip.
Yeah, I could put this in my handbag.
Yeah,
It would be
exactly.
fine. So that, and then Res Arcana is my third.
Yeah, but you know what? I could be wrong. I think if you play it more, you might like it more. I don't know. That's like my prediction.
Yeah, I think so. I think I have a bad like my first impression for this was I just had like really bad luck.
Bad cards.
Yeah, like bad cards, and like I didn't like I didn't like my deck. I didn't like my main player card. So the
Your mage.
entire game for me was just like I wasn't really feeling it, but I would like to play it again and probably have like a different, you know.
And actually, we played with the starting mages. So we said this earlier.
Yeah.
A lot of people highly recommend playing this with a drafting mechanic, which would be kind of more like Seven Wonders Duel. So you know,
Yeah.
when we pick our wonders,
Right.
we choose the
we
one.
choose which one.
So you'd do that with the mages. You'd pick the
Right.
mage you like. You pick the artifacts you like.
Yeah.
And now you already kind of have more of an idea of how it plays. So
Right.
I feel like there's potential here. Maybe it just rubbed you the wrong way that one. But that leaves Canvas for last. We already talked a bit about it.
Yep.
So why did Canvas not hit home on the first impression?
I don't know. I just feel like it's such a like mediocre game. To be honest.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's just like really, in sense of like why I'm saying mediocre. It's just like, you know, we're playing like very separately. So
Not a lot of player interaction.
yeah, like I'm doing my own thing, you're doing your own thing. I mean, yes, there are cards that you can block as a player, like to try to, you know, not let the other person get the card you want, but
You're not really going
no
to do
one
that.
really cares,
Yeah.
like, to be honest.
It's not even that I don't care. It's like I'm trying so hard to even make the cards that I have work
Yeah.
that I'm not even trying to
Yeah.
block anything. So yeah, I think it's fine. Canvas is a fine game. That was my first impression. Of course, we've only played it once. We'll play it again and see if maybe like if you play it like maybe 2-3 times, maybe
I would
the
give
experience gets a little
I
deeper.
would give it like another go.
But it almost has a solo game vibe.
Yeah.
So it's like we're both playing our own type of thing. And I think these other three, there is interaction there, you know, and it's clear
Yeah.
you can do things that mess each other up, especially in these two. And I think that's something you really like. Is that like you can interact with each other, like in Bloody Inn, you can stop the other person from getting income, you can take a card that they really want, you can leave them in a difficult situation, and in Conspiracy as well, it's all about like not letting the other person get stuff. So I think these two have maybe even more player interaction, maybe even than Res Arcana does.
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Like way more, because here it's like you have your own card. What's it called? Like your main card.
Your mage.
Yeah, your mage.
Yeah.
So you have your mage, and then you're pretty much just like looking for things that benefit your mage and your deck or like whatever. So, you know, you have your own thing going on. I have my own thing going on. It doesn't really affect each other.
It's a bit more like Dominion. Is that like you're worried because you can see the other person's engine is really working well.
Yeah.
So when you see somebody in Dominion getting all those 6-point estate cards, and you're like, their engine is working. In Res Arcana, it's the same kind of thing. You can see the person taking things.
Yeah.
So it's not like really that there is some interaction because there's the dragons and stuff. We didn't really use any of that stuff.
Yeah, I didn't get an animal card.
I had a dragon, and I think it could have attacked you. So there is some interaction and attack cards, but it's mostly that it's a race. So there is tension in the game, but I think these ones are more direct interaction.
Right.
So that's why we probably, I agree with you. Bloody Inn was one of my favorites. I'm excited to play more Res Arcana. And this was a fun, surprisingly good game for something that's comes in a small little tin.
Yeah.
So yeah,
There we go.
that's it. Thanks for joining us. And in the description below, I'll put the how-to videos that we used to learn the game, because it's just, the learning games can be tough, but with the help of other people, it's pretty easy. Yeah, that's our first impressions of the first 4 games. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye.